How's it going, folks?
We are here in Canton at the CYC Continental Youth Championships with teams from all of America, New York and Canada, joined by a special guest today here, Ciaran McLaughlin. Ciaran is the president of Ulster GAA and also the chairman of World GAA and a referee when he has the time as well. So he has everything going. So
referee of little recruit.
Yeah, when he has the time. I don't know where he gets the time is probably the first question, but maybe we'll start at Ulster GAA. They're absolutely flying it at the minute.
Yeah.
So Armagh get into a final yesterday. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, look, Ulster GAA itself, just over the past year, if you look at all the titles that have come into the province, and it's no coincidence at schools level with the Hogan Cup and other titles. At Sigerson, the Sigerson Cup was won by Ulster teams, the UUGA. Our club teams won the treble, and obviously now we have Armagh at the top of the tree in the All-Ireland final, with Down winning the Trolley Cup as well. On the other side, the hurling, everybody's working so hard. We definitely are a province that really prides herself in doing things to the highest of standards, and I think this year particularly that's come through in a very strong way. The Ulster GAA is in a very strong position, and when I say GAA I mean the GAA family. Today, as we speak, Ciaran are playing in an All-Ireland semi-final intermediate, and we also have the Armagh playing in an All-Ireland semi-final at senior level. So those things are really good indicators of the strength of the games across the province.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Armagh obviously got to the final yesterday too, and then you have Donegal playing today, so it could be an all-Ulster, all-Ireland final. And then you look at the Ulster side, I mean, Division 1 was won by Ulster side, Division 2 this year was won by Donegal, Ulster side again. Minor
and it's no coincidence, it's no coincidence you say that, you know, the under-20s. Ciaran won the All-Ireland, and I was delighted about that at a personal level. But Ciaran won the All-Ireland on the back of beating a good Kerry team and a really good final. At the Ulster Championship, the two semi-finals were won by a point, and the Ulster final was won on penalties. And in my view, and I've said that several times, any one of those four teams could have won that All-Ireland final. Yeah. So it's a real indicator of the strength of what we have in our games. And look, as you said there yourself, we saw the Ulster minor final was played in Ely Park in Omagh. I was at it, and I said that day I thought those two teams would be back in the All-Ireland final, just because of the strength of what we're currently doing. Now, GAA are very deserving winners, and to win a back-to-back minor title, I have to commend them for what they're doing. But Monaghan weren't that far behind them last year, and this year Armagh. You know, so as I say, every county's doing its best in Ulster, and that's a wonderfully pleasing thing for us all.
It's heartbreaking for myself last year, being a Monaghan man myself, losing to Derry twice in Ulster, and in the back door then.
Well, there still is that thing, you know, and that's what we're talking here generally about GAA and Ulster. And it's about that development opportunity. You know, all of our countries are trying to develop players to the highest level from a very wide base, I would suggest. But at the end of the day, it's about getting to the top of the tree, and that's where every county in Ulster starts out its goal, or sets of goals at the start of the season. You said already, the league titles, that's the first place. But when you look at what has happened this year, you said already with Kerry winning it, maybe a little bit disappointed that they didn't go better in the All-Ireland series, and in Ulster, of course. But you look at Armagh and Donegal, played the Division 2 final, played the Ulster final. I would suggest we'll be playing the All-Ireland final myself.
So, bold prediction. There's a man behind the camera smiling there, he's happy with that. So, great work being done with Ulster GAA, that's for sure. Then we'll move on to the World GAA, so you're the chair of that. So obviously, out in Boston here for the CYC, how do you see the games developing globally on a global stage?
Well, it's a nice question you've asked just at the right time. There's obviously going to score, and the under-8 game going on behind us. And I've been fortunate enough now, this is my second CYC, so I was in Chicago a couple of years back, and to see the games being played here in America, and you've already said yourself, with the Canada teams and the New York teams, all these children getting all these opportunities over 4 days. It's a wonderful indictment of our games in the States and on this island, and as well as that last weekend actually, I was over in London at they call it the All Britain competition, very good. And they nearly had almost 4,000 children playing in those games as well. So when you think about our games and what's going on across the globe, those two, the games in America have been here for a long number of years, 100 odd years. And Britain's been the same, but the diaspora has grown since. And in Canada we have a very strong Vancouver division, Toronto's strong, and Middle East, Asia, Australasia, all going really, really well, and of course Europe, where there's a large number of clubs. So our games are growing, our games are very strong. And when I say our games, I suppose that I don't put enough emphasis on the community aspect of it, because our games abroad are an opportunity for people who get the Gaelic games, the people who go abroad and they're from our island. Really the first thing they do is look for a local GAA club.
I mean, speaking from my own experience, it was like, I moved here in 2015, October 2015, and obviously no football until the summer. But it's one of the first thing is, maybe in the airport here, I send an email to the Secretary of Boston GAA saying to see how it goes. And like you said, so many other lads do that, and it's like nearly a networking thing.
That's it.
A word,
And I was even like, so talking in the context of that side of it, the family side of it, the community side of it, and there have been, and I've already I've been Ulster president for a couple of years, and there have been a number of situations, and it is situations for families that they've had things happen with children. If those who, like yourself, gone abroad, maybe things just didn't go as well as they expected, and the local club has kicked in. It's been wonderful what has happened, and I've heard those stories, and it's a real. I really wanted to emphasise that community spirit of the games across the globe. And of course, what you asked me, the question was about our games and their expansion. There's no doubt our games are expanding. As late as last week, we had another conversation with our friends in Argentina. We're one with them in Ulster. They play hurling in Buenos Aires, and Bernardo was actually here with Toronto Chieftains yesterday, so I was chatting to him briefly. So that's an example. Canada's strong anyway, but it's the fact that we're getting those contacts in Argentina. We've got contacts Uganda GA. I don't know if you've spotted that or not, but Uganda GA are very keen to get things moving on a more structured basis. And the one thing I want to make sure we put around it is that whenever we do, I'll not say allow clubs, but when clubs look to establish themselves, they have to be representing the GAA, and I mean, again, I'm saying that one family, representing it the best possible way, which means when they do that, if they're going to set themselves up, they have to have a structure around them, that they know that we're all the same everywhere we go. We're based on a membership, we're based on a constitution, we have a set of rules we all follow, and if you do all those things, we'll support you all the way.
So I mean, another thing I wanted to talk to you quickly about is, so we have out here, obviously, it's all more under the one umbrella with the ladies football and the Gaelic and the men's football and whatever, and you see it here, the boys, girls, everything playing all over. I know that's something they're talking about with Mary McAleese and everything too, and something you might be involved with. So they're talking about integration, the whole LGFA into the GAA and stuff too. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ciaran?
Yes, I mean, you've heard me there throughout this conversation mentioning the family that lives across our units overseas, and it's inevitable that you all, when you're working, you pull together. And of course, the issue for you, same as the issue is for us all on the island, is that there's 3 sets of rules whenever that happens, and you have to abide by those rules. And that's good in its own way, because nobody ever foresaw when the association was set up in 1884 that it would expand the way it has, with the 120th anniversary of Camogie coming up, the 50th anniversary of the LGFA. And those are things which, as I say, back in 1884 in Thurles, nobody thought this is going to be the way it's going to end up. So now we're in the 21st century. People want things to be more efficient, more effective, and I think the only way that can happen is to be one association. And that's why when I look around me and see what's going on overseas, yes, of course, as I say, there's 3 sets of rules. I'm not going to ever deny that there's 3 sets of rules, but it's how we can pull the 3 associations into the one family, like the operation that's going on across a lot of the units across overseas. And actually, any club on the island of Ireland, certainly in Ulster anyway, I'll talk about Ulster, any club that wants to be integrated already are, and on the ground, integration works really, really well. So the challenge for us all is, at the end of the day, finances are going to be one, facilities are going to be another. Those probably are the 2 big things. If those can be correct, and we know it's not going to be easy, and that's where Mary McAleese and that group, the 3 presidents, the archstewards, that's where their current position is, that they just have to try and work it out. And I know they're working closely with the government to try and see can there be some supports given, because ultimately when we talk about the finance and talk about the facilities, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and those are the things. And obviously the one then, that it's not a bugbear, it's just the way things are. The split season, I do like it for our Gaelic games. I do love the fact that our players get to play for their clubs. Some might argue they don't get to play enough for their clubs, but I think it's given the club a spotlight, and that's wonderful. But what it has created is that you'll have the LGFA and the Camogie and the GAA, if you're kind of successful, all playing on the one day or the one weekend. And that has caused its own issues in and around attendances, the impact that has on people, on their time to go to games. So we have to be really careful that when we do take the step forward, and I really, really hope it's not too, the target is 2027. I hope if we get to that stage in 2027 that we're looking at some sort of a green light, that the volunteer and the input from the volunteer isn't lost in it, because the same people in the clubs like yourselves here in Boston are doing the same work, and we have to make sure that they don't get burnt out on the basis of all what's going to go on. So I do think there's a real will to make it happen, and please God it will.
Definitely so. I mean, I'm like counties playing, representing, like as you said there, ladies and men's the same weekend. I mean, surely idea-wise it should be maybe the ladies as a curtain raiser for that game on the same day, so then at least if you're supporting one county, you don't have to be split between Breffni, Bark and Clones.
Yeah, and that is the practicalities of setting fixtures. I mean, that's what you're talking about. Look, we'll not solve that here, but I mean, the ideal world, the utopia vision is that we would have what you're after saying. We would have the Monaghan hurlers playing the Tyrone hurlers on the same day as the Camogie playing. And look, that's fanciful, but at the end of the day, whatever can be done in the associations, and I know there's 7 work groups set up to look at all the various aspects of what's going on and to make integration happen. And look, as I say, please God it'll happen. Will it happen in 2027? We're not so sure. I mean, you know, any feedback I've got is that the thing's moving forward, and look, let's hope it does.
Good stuff. Well, Ciaran, you definitely exemplified the volunteer too, because I saw you with the whistle there a few times already this weekend. So a little bit of reffing. Any hairy decisions that you've had to make? Or
no. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, these are youth games, and by and large, the games that I'm involved in, their children, just the worst part of it for them probably is the heat. You know, at the end of the day, so, look, it's great to be involved, great to be able to help and do a bit of refereeing, handed a few medals. Sure, there's no point coming here for the jolly. It's not a jolly. It's work, and I know people like yourself and Paddy, put on a real effort in Boston. I want to compliment Boston GAA for what it does, all the clubs in Boston, and of course the others. That I don't want to start naming leaving people out, but just it's a real compliment to everybody in the US, but particularly this weekend in Boston for putting together these championships with the steering committee led by Bernie. It's been really, really wonderful. The weather is going to finish it off today. It's hot. I'm standing here and I'm boiling, so it's going to be a wonderful day. And look, for the kids, that's what it's all about. So well done, everybody.
Ciaran, thanks very much for your time. Good stuff.